Hello, world. Welcome to another week of Golf Subpar. Colt Knost and Drew Stoltz. What a show we have lined up for today, Sleaze. First, let's just discuss real quick the Honda Classic. Matt Jones, the Aussie, put on an absolute clinic, won by 5 to get his second PGA Tour win.
Surgical around a course that can make you look like an idiot. Made a lot of great players look like idiots over times there. But dude, what did he pick up? 14 shots, I think, tee to green on the week, the highest at that golf tournament since they started recording. I mean, he was incredible tee to green, and how fun to watch the dude just play unbelievably fast. I mean, if everyone on tour was Matt Jones, we get this thing done in 3:15 every single week. But he's the anti-modern day player. He just picks a club, goes, and it's really fun to watch. It's refreshing to watch.
It is. It was just a dominating performance. Opened with 61, tying the course record, which you just don't see 61 around PGA National. It's insane how good that is. But he put on a show and deserved to win.
Dude, when I saw that first round score, I was like, what do we do? Have they changed the golf course? Like, what 61 out there? I mean, that is so hard. There's so many holes that can jump up and snatch you at any time on that golf course. To get around there with no blemishes, I mean, 61 is just, that's unheard of. And he kept it going, man. Watching him yesterday close that thing out, which he did fairly easily. There wasn't the drama that we're used to seeing at the Bear Trap. Makes you wonder, like, I mean, he looks so good. Why haven't we seen more? You know, it's been 7 years since his last win. Why haven't we seen more of him? Everything looked perfect. And maybe this is just a little shot of confidence he needs. But, I mean, God, I don't care who was there yesterday. If that field had all the best players in the world, it would be tough to beat Matt Jones.
Yeah, I mean, golf is hard. That is the simple answer. But congratulations to Matt Jones. And speaking of things that are difficult, we have some breaking news in the Golf Subpar. Next week, the time has finally come, Sleaze. We've talked about it with a lot of our guests. I always like to get, especially our hockey guys, their opinions on this. The bet with the great Ray Whitney, former NHL superstar, y'all made about 4 to 5 years ago, and nothing's ever happened. It's always been a lot of shit talking going back and forth about this bet. There's three different bets going on. We've got the Ice Den, renting it out.
Home of the Coyotes, practice.
But the 3 bets consist of, You've been on skates once when you're like 9 years old.
Yeah, 9 or 10. I cruised around a lake one time that was frozen over. I felt like
if you're lying to us and you look like a superstar when you get out there, we're gonna be.
If I look like all these nights, late nights when you think I'm at home, I've been sneaking out for some skating sessions.
All right. Well, just to remind everyone at home, we got 3 bets. You got to go around the rink. You can't walk. You actually have to try to skate.
Technically, I can walk. I will not. There's no time constraint in terms of getting around the arena. So I could just baby step it around. I won't because I'm a man and I have some pride.
No touching the boards without falling. Bet number 2, from the blue line.
Yeah.
Which is further than you thought it was.
Seems to be a lot. Are they moving that thing back?
But you are on skates. You get 50 pucks. You got to fly one into the net.
Yes. First of all, the skating around the rink, that's done. I will do that. I'll book any bet anybody wants on that. I have confidence in myself. Even though I've never been on skates other than one time, I can do that. This is where it gets interesting on the shooting. A, the blue line is way the hell further away from the net than I thought. B, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, well, even if I am able to get around, if I don't skate around the rink, the rest of the bets are dead because I won't be able to do it. But I was looking at it, I was like, even if I can lift one from the blue, if I can get it to where I can lift it, wrist shot, slap shot, whatever, the net, it's got to go in the net in the air. The thing is freaking tiny, but
yeah, it's not a soccer goal down there.
No, I'm coming out first shot. I think my strategy is going to be wrist shot, but my first shot will be a full bore slap shot. And if the stars align and I just hit some laser beam directly into the net and walk off, that'll be the end of time.
Well, no, because you can't walk off because there's a third bet to get to.
I'll walk off and then just concede the last one. Yeah, because I really don't want to do it.
The third bet, we got Ray Whitney, 22-year NHL veteran. Because you think this was after some cocktails, some delicious Austin cocktails. You thought you could go from one end of the rink towards Ray, who is planted at the far end of the ice. You get to your top speed,
which is going to be fast.
And Ray says you will not move him 1 inch.
A little background on this bet. This bet came about 5 years ago. We're playing the Twin Fin, the Desert Marlin at the time, out here at Greyhawk, and there was 15 guys. We all go after the first round to grab dinner. Drinking all day. Right? It's a long day out there, probably 5-6 hours of drinking, head to dinner, have a few more. And I mean, at this point, we are loud. We're being asked to leave, things like that. And I mean, you could have bet me, hey, Drew, do you think you can land on the moon in the next 48 hours? I'm like, yep. What do you want to bet? I could do anything. I was Superman at the time. So they would start popping off with Ray. And that's where the origin of these bets come from. But yes, this last one, moving Ray Whitney, it's basically, the more I'm thinking about it, it'd be like running into a fire hydrant. He's built like a fire hydrant. He's low to the earth, and he's just a little shit house. So I'm gonna have to be coming with some serious velocity. But dude, I'm not gonna sell out to Ray.
I cannot wait. This Wednesday,
I might go skate first on his ass.
No, you're not.
See how bad he wants
Ray.
it.
This Wednesday, March 24th, 5:45 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be awesome. On next week's episode, we're going to break it all down for you. Hopefully, have a
I
little
got
video,
sweaty
little
palms right now
highlights.
talking about it.
It is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you don't die. Just in case, send all
all your resumes
for another co-host here on Golf Subpar to our wonderful producer, and we'll pick someone if Sleaze dies.
There could be a vacancy. And I've had some hockey players reaching out to me on Instagram and things like that, coaching me up, giving me some advice. If you are a hockey player or know anything about hockey at all and have any strategy for me in terms of hitting the puck in the net from the blue line, fire them at me because I'm open for anything. But 50 pucks, dude, I can try a lot of different strategies.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. But Sleaze, we got a massive guest this week. It's March Madness, and who better to have than Thunder Dan Majerle in the building?
Oh, my God, dude. Thunder Dan, a Phoenix legend. He'd be one of the guys that's on the short list for icons. I mean, it was before I moved here, before you moved here, but back in the 90s when Dan was doing his thing, let's just say it was good to be Dan Majerle in this town. The Suns were rocking. They had Barkley, Majerle, Kevin Johnson. They were the show, and, I mean, Majerle was the deal in this town. He was as big a deal as you can get in this town.
Yeah, and he's a huge golfer and can actually really, really play.
Legit good.
Low round to 66.
Yeah.
You'll learn about his golf game, basketball, and a lot more. But before we get to Dan Majerle, a word from our official sponsor, Rockform. Sleaze, I mean, we talk about it every week. It's the greatest speaker we've ever seen, we've ever used. We use it every weekend when we're out there getting amongst it on the golf course. Best battery life I've ever seen. 6 rounds, no problem. Keep on using Rockform.
Oh, there's no second in this category. It's Rockform or bust. We're gonna have a couple out there tomorrow night. Might sync them up so we can create some ambiance in that arena. You know, I like playing in front of a packed arena, get the juices going. But there's no better speaker in the game than Rockform. Don't play around a golf anymore without one. Wouldn't even imagine it.
Nope. Waterproof. Can't beat it. You know what? You need room in your cup holder.
Of course, dude.
With Rockform.
First things
Magnet
first.
right on the side of the cart. There's no possible way for this thing to fall off.
No, you could run into Ray Whitney in a golf cart and that magnet will stay. That's how strong it is.
You might need a golf cart to move Ray Whitney.
It might take that.
But seriously, go out there, get you a Rockform. Go to rockform.com, enter code SUBPAR for 25% off. That's ROKFORM.com. Type in code SUBPAR. Get you 25% off your Rockform speaker. All right, here he is, Thunder Dan Majerle on Golf Subpar.
We have a Phoenix icon in the building here with us today. We got 14-year NBA vet, 3-time NBA All-Star, probably one of the coolest nicknames in all of sports, and a hell of a stick, Thunder. Dan Majerle, how we doing, my man?
I'm good. As far as the stick, it depends on the day. That's why golf is so frustrating. One day I'll go out and shoot a 69, and I'll go out and shoot a 79. So
I've seen it. It's pretty good.
It's
multiple times.
I played with you the other day.
That was a good day.
Nice.
That was a good day. That's
nice.
why golf is so frustrating for me because I love it. And I go out there and I think I got this great swing thought or something. And I'm hitting the ball great, and I'll be like coming in and be like a 79. I'll be like, what the hell just happened?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
How much different is that from basketball? In basketball, is it just? I mean, does your fundamentals or does your technique?
Well, you'll have bad days in basketball because
yeah.
you'll miss shots or something, but you can make it up for defense and rebounding. And I always say in golf, if I get frustrated, you can't do a whole lot. In basketball, I'd go. You know, if I was playing against you, I'd give you a nice hard box out or knock you to the side of the head or something.
Please don't do that.
I won't.
I'm sensitive.
But golf, you can't do that. You just you and that ball, and it's such a mind game for me. It's mental. If I hit one bad shot or if something's not feeling right, then I struggle. In basketball, if your shot's not going well, you can always get to the free throw line, or you can go hard to the basket, get fouled, or make some layups, or make other kind of plays. And to me, that's why golf's so hard.
And you got into golf when you were still playing, yeah?
Yeah, it was funny. I never played. Well, I can't say I never played. I played a little bit as a kid. I grew up. My dad, was a single chair barber, and he'd play maybe on a Sunday. And I played baseball, and I was a left-handed hitter in baseball. So every time we'd go to the course, we had to go through this pain in the ass of renting left-handed clubs. Mm-hmm. So I finally said, all right, I'm just going to start using my dad's clubs. So I started playing right-handed, and didn't play very much. And then I bought a house on the Biltmore. So it was probably back in 1990 or 91. And I lived right on the 9th tee of the links course. And when the daylights, was going down and people were starting to play, I'd go out and I had this black lab. And I'd go out and I'd take like 20 balls and I'd take a little 7-iron and I'd hit shots down the fairway. And this black lab would run down, and no matter where I hit the ball, I'd walk, 150, 160 yards down the fairway. There'd be 20 balls sitting down in the middle of the fairway. So I would do that for like 30 minutes where I just hit every shot, and that lab would go get every ball, and I would just continue to do that. And got addicted to the game, and then finally joined Arizona Country Club, and that's over for them. It was more like it was something that took my mind off of basketball. I would go to Arizona and just hit balls for hours or hour and a half after practice just to clear my head and just stand on the back of range and hit balls. And just it's a game that I can't get enough of.
Did the clubs travel when you were still playing?
No, you can never play especially early. We flew commercial, so we never chartered when I first got in the league.
Things have changed.
And then when you were playing, there was no use to take any clubs because once we started chartering flights, you would go in, you would play the game, and then you'd leave right after game and go in the next city, and then get up and have shoot around or have practice, and so there was really no time to play.
Pitchers are the only worthless athletes that get to play well.
So I said, if I had to do it again, I'd be a pitcher.
No kidding.
I'd work once every 5 days and then play golf.
Yeah. Make $30 million.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
you'd be the highest paid guy. You'd work the least. Have to show
be a
up
hard
the
throwing left hander. It'd be awesome.
They pay those guys.
Mark Mulder.
You'd be Mark. Yeah.
And he's good looking.
God,
we hate him.
Don't we
here.
wish?
Yeah.
Hate that guy. But we've played golf with you. Tell the people at home, like, what's the strengths of your games? What's the one thing you'd like to improve the most?
Short game, chipping.
Yeah.
Worst part of my game by far. That's one of those things that some days I'll go out there and I can hit chips, and the other times I think you actually saw it a couple times we play. I scroll it over the green. I just cannot figure out the chipping, especially against tight lies. Can't do it. Driving is a pretty good part of my game. Iron play is not bad. Putting come and go, but the chipping is the worst by far.
The driver's pretty damn good. You move it. I mean, obviously you're a great athlete, but like we played, especially up in Flagstaff where there's no air.
Yeah.
I mean, you hit some seeds.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty big and tall. I got a short backswing due to a lot of injuries and no flexibility. But driver I usually hit pretty solid.
Favorite golf course you ever played?
Well, I was talking about there was a golf course in I think it was called El Dorado in Cabo.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name.
Oh, that
That's
was the one. Yeah, I've played Pebble, I've played Olympic, I've played Pine Valley, I've played them all, but for some reason El Dorado was the best.
Might have something to do with what they put in the water.
Environment. Could be those little huts, those little like underground burial sites where they put all the booze. Those help too.
That might be it too.
What's on the wish list that you haven't played?
Augusta.
Yep, that's a good one.
Cypress Point. Mm-hmm. Those are probably the two right now.
You're so dialed. I feel like that's a quick phone call away for you.
Yeah. Well, I need
a couple dudes in town maybe could.
Well, there's a guy named Craig Neal who's the assistant coach at Nevada. Was a coach at New Mexico, who's a Georgia Tech guy, and he told me there's a lot of members that went to Georgia Tech at Augusta, and he said for your 50th birthday, I'm gonna get you on Augusta. Well, I'm 55, and I still haven't gone yet. And there's a place in Atlanta where they have a picture of Augusta in the airport, and I actually stand there every time I go, and I take a picture and I send it to Noodles, and I say, still waiting.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. 5 years later.
Are you a big golf fan? Like, do you watch on TV and stuff when you're home?
Yep.
Glued to the TV?
As much as I can be. I do. I love golf. I was telling you earlier, I was watching replays today of the TPC and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I love just watching golf. It's fun.
Why do you think it is? Like, we've had a lot of athletes on. We have a lot of golfers, but a lot of athletes from other sports too. And clearly, golf's like the unifier here. What is it about golf that like every single athlete that whether they're still playing or retiring gravitate towards golf?
For me, it's probably the only way I can get a whole lot of competition anymore. I grew up playing basketball and baseball, that kind of stuff. And when you play in the NBA, one thing that really kept me going, even when I was coaching, was the competition part of it. I love to compete. And at my age now, I can't do a whole lot of stuff physically. And a good way for me to compete is golf. And I've been a part of team sports my whole career. And as we've talked about, this is more of an individual sport. So it's just you and the ball. I actually have a hard time when I'm playing in a member or something where I'm with a partner because I hate letting people down now. Yeah, especially on the golf course. I hate it. So when I'm out there playing golf for money or whatever, it's just me and the ball. And it's just what I do. So the competition for me, I think, is what keeps me going.
Well, you play every damn day.
Well, I play probably 9 times a week now.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. I got nothing else to do.
And it's the only sport where you can drink.
No, it's not one. Yeah.
Well, it's not the only one, but I'm not very good at bowling.
Yeah, I don't know if we can count that. Yeah.
Let's talk a little basketball because you grew up in Michigan. You were a stud in high school, ended up going to Central Michigan. Was that kind of the plan all along, or were you open to going anywhere and you just decided to stay?
Well, it was funny when I grew up in Traverse City. My junior year was the first year that high school athletes could sign after their junior year. So I averaged like 21 and 8 my junior year, and all the Mid-American schools kind of recruited me. It was Central Michigan, went down to Central Michigan, Western Michigan, and Toledo. My assistant coach had graduated from Toledo and went on to play for the Washington Bullets, a guy named Tom Kozelko. So I narrowed it down to Toledo and Central Michigan. And a great story is that I made my decision. I said, I'm going to Toledo. I'm going to follow this guy's footstep. So I told the two coaches not to call me for the weekend before I was going to make my decision. So on Sunday night, I'd made my decision, and I get a call about 11:30 at night from the Toledo coach. And I'm like, what are you doing calling me? And this guy was drunk, when he called me.
Awesome.
Hey, Coach.
But he was so excited that he was going to like, are you going to come? Are you coming? Hung up the phone, told my mom and dad, I'm going to Central Michigan. Changed, went to Central Michigan. Played my senior year. My senior year in high school, I averaged 38 and 16. I was the second leading scorer in the nation. So I could have went anywhere I wanted to. I could have went to Michigan. I went to Michigan State. Bill Frieder at the time had told me before I signed, he said, hey, don't sign after your junior year. We want to watch you play through your senior year. I took the scholarship, so no, I'm going to do it. But it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me because when I went to Central Michigan my first year, I had my first back surgery, so I ended up redshirting. So going to Central Michigan, they ended up waiting on me, and I was able to, if you went to Michigan or Michigan State, they're going to always probably recruit over you. So I was able to wait and had a great career at Central Michigan. Stayed all 5 years. Funny thing was that I was probably projected to be a third-round pick after Central Michigan. So they invited me to Portsmouth, which was back then was like where all the second or third rounders was going to go. And I wanted to go to the Chicago camps, which is going to be all the first rounders. And they said, no, we're not going to invite you to Chicago. You're going to go to Portsmouth. I ended up going to Portsmouth. I won the MVP, won the championship there. They invited me to Chicago, said, no, I did my business. Because of Portsmouth, I got invited to the Olympic team to try out. Went to the Olympic team. There was 103 players invited to the Olympic tryouts. I was the 103rd player invited to the Olympic tryouts. The first day I was sitting, we were all sitting on the floor. We were all dressed in blue practice jerseys, all said USA. John Thompson was the coach. George Raveling was the assistant coach. And I'll never forget, the very first day he went through roll call, and when he got to my name, he said, Dan Majerle. So I raised my hand. I said, I'm here. And I said, there's no way in hell I'm going to make this team. So the day went by. Next day, went through roll call, called me Dan Majerle again. Long story short, I kept on making the cuts. And then before you know it, I got invited to the select team, went to Spain, did well over there, and was finally one of the last 12 guys to make the team. Ended up playing on the Olympic team in '88, went to Seoul, Korea, led the team in minutes and scoring. I think I was third in rebounding. I think I was named the male athlete of the year that year for the Olympics. So from going through just nobody knowing my name and hardly being invited to making the Olympic team and having that experience with John Thompson and that whole thing. And I always say that we're the reason there is a Dream Team 1 because we were the last college team to play in the Olympics. We lost, and they said there's no more losing. We're going to invite the pros, so we have the best team going. And that's why they invited the Dream Team 1.
So you went from 103 to on the top 12 to the athlete of the year, male athlete of the year in basketball.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Before you play an NBA game, you led the team in scoring. What was that like going over there as just a young kid? Like, holy shit, I just graduated Central Michigan. Now I'm playing on the U.S. Olympic team.
It was nuts because all I thought about is every practice. I knew I was playing for John Thompson. Is just never show I'm tired. Just play as hard as I can. They said go through drills. Said okay, we're going to go through this drill. Just go 70%. I went 100%. John Thompson was so tough that there were guys begging to be cut. I mean, he would go through. We'd line up after practice on the baseline, and we'd be getting ready for sprints. And he would always say this. He said, "You guys want this to be your dream? I'm going to make it your nightmare," and blow the whistle. And then we'd just run and run and run. So it was a hard camp, but I just kept my head down and just worked as hard as I could. And I think he kind of fell in love with how hard I worked. I played hard defensively, and one of the best coaches I ever played for. And because of that, I was able to be drafted by the Suns in the first round, the 14th pick.
Was that kind of a surprise to you that you went 14th, or did you think you should have gone higher considering the Olympics you had?
Well, it was funny because I thought I was going to go 12 to Milwaukee. I was sitting in the base of my home in Traverse City, Michigan, and after I got back from the select team, I had visited a couple teams. I never even talked to Phoenix. The only thing that Phoenix did was call me like at midnight one night for one of those psychological tests. Like if you're coming to a traffic light, it's yellow. Do you speed up? Do you slow? So they give you these answers, these questions. I don't know, but they give you these questions that you have no idea what the answers are. There's no right or wrong answers. They're just what you are. So anyway, I went out and worked out for Milwaukee, and Milwaukee told me that if you're there at 13, we're going to pick you. So I'm sitting there in the basement with my mom and dad, and 13 comes, and Milwaukee takes Jeff Greer, who incidentally was a Flint, Michigan guy who went to Iowa. So when Milwaukee took Jeff Greer, I was like, I have no idea where I'm going now. I hadn't talked to Phoenix, so I hadn't worked them out. Just did this little test. So 14 came, and they said my name, so I was shocked.
They said you tested like off the charts in that.
Yeah, they said I was the best guy I'd ever tested.
Whoever did the test like immediately called the gym, was like, "This is the kid. Take this kid."
And I had no idea. I mean, I didn't know. So when the 13th pick was, I have no idea where I'm going. And then next thing I knew, Al McCoy was calling me on the phone, and that's when he said, "Everybody's booing you here. How do you feel?"
Yeah.
I said, "I could care less, Al. I'm just in the NBA. I'm happy."
But then the Olympics got you more exposure. Then people kind of, because you were at Central Michigan, you don't get the TV exposure of the Blue Bloods, the Michigans, the Dukes, and those. So no one really had gotten to see you play really until the Olympics.
Yeah, and by the time I got here, people had changed their mind, and everything was great. And it was just a perfect situation because before I got here with the Suns, it was before Tom Chambers and Kevin Johnson, and they made that trade for Tom. So my rookie year here, we had a great team in Phoenix, and at that time it was one of the biggest turnarounds for a franchise in NBA history, where the Suns went from 20 wins to 55 wins or something, all because of Tom and Kevin Johnson and Jeff Hornacek and all those guys. And I was a part of that team, so I was very lucky. My 14 years in the NBA, the only time I never made the playoffs was my last year with Phoenix.
I was going to say, right out of the gate, you were a playoff.
Oh, yeah. My first 13 years, we won 50, 60 games of every team I was at.
That is incredible. I mean, was it hard for you to go? Because I heard before Barkley came in, I mean, you're the guy that would drive inside, be physical, and then he comes in, and now you become a 3-point weapon.
Yeah.
Was that a tough change for you?
It was a little bit, but what I did is we traded Jeff Hornacek for Charles. Jeff was a great player, but you got to obviously have to give up somebody to get somebody like Charles. So I literally, and I tell my kid this, my son Max, all the time, that you can become a great shooter if you want to be. I was a guy who didn't shoot any threes. In high school, I never left the paint. I scored 38 points within 2 feet of the basket. I was a center. In college, I was a center for my first 3 years at Central Michigan. Moved out a little bit, but hardly shot any threes. My first 3 or 4 years in the league, I hardly shot threes. So that year, knowing that Jeff was gone and we were going to throw the ball into Charles all the time in the post and there'd be a lot of double teams, I locked myself in the gym. I shot 1,000 threes every night. Never took a day off, and just spent the whole summer shooting threes and just trained myself to become a better shooter.
That's incredible. I mean, it worked out obviously very well. I don't know how active you are on social media, but earlier this year, Steph Curry, they showed him hitting 105 in a row from the corner.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What's the highest you think you've ever been?
Well, I used to do this thing at Miami that we'd shoot 100 consecutive threes from different spots. So you'd shoot 20 in a spot, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, all the way around, and shoot 100 consecutive threes without stopping. And the most I ever made was 90.
That's
still getting it done.
I know, but making, and that's moving, but to make 105 threes in a row, I mean, Steph Curry is the best shooter that's ever walked this planet, bar none.
It's
awesome.
freakish.
Bar none.
Being the way the NBA is right now, with like the emphasis, it's all dunking and it's threes, basically, right? It's
Yep.
up and down. Being that you became such a great 3-point shooter, what do you think your career looks like in today's game? Different,
but I wouldn't change it. But I would say this: I think the most threes I shot in a game was when I was with Miami. We were in Minnesota. I shot 10 threes and I made 9.
Correct.
Most I've ever shot, I think.
10.
In today's game, I would probably average 12 or 13 threes a game.
Yeah, it's just all threes and dunks.
So I'd probably average maybe 5, 6 threes, 4. Some games shoot 2 or 3. Some shoot 6, 7. But in this game, you're going to, especially the way I played, I'd probably average 11, 12 threes a game. Yeah, so it'd be a totally different game.
Yeah, you're stud from 3-point range. Yeah. You're a hell of a defensive player. Cha-ching in today's game.
Be pretty good, and they pay a lot.
That's a max deal, bud. That's a max deal.
They pay a lot more.
We got to talk a little bit about Barkley. He's been on the show. We know him. Obviously played a lot of golf with him and all this. What was it like when you found out Charles Barkley was getting traded to Phoenix?
I was jacked, man, because we were so good before he came, but we could never get over the hump. We'd win 50-plus games. We'd lose to L.A. or we'd lose to Portland. We had great players. We just didn't have that one guy that kind of could throw us on his shoulders and lead us, and we knew Charles could be that, especially coming off of the Dream Team 1 deal. So when he got here, not only is he a great individual and a great guy, but he's the best player I've ever played with. Wow. I remember the first game that we played, I think it was against the Clippers at home, and everybody was kind of struggling, and he just took over the game. I mean, literally won the game by himself. And I said, this is going to be great. And we went on to win 62 games that year. He was the MVP. We had the best record in the league. I opened Marley Sports Grill downtown. The arena opened that year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just a dream season. And it had everything to do with the type of player that Charles was, but also the guys that we had around him. We had a great mix of guys. I mean, we had Danny Ainge, Kevin Johnson, myself, Tom Chambers, Cedric Sabalos, Mark West. I can keep naming them all. I know I'm going to forget a few, but a different mix of players. But our chemistry was off the charts.
Yeah, you just happened to run into Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough deal. Yeah, let's get that in a second. But was Charles the same dude that you see off the court now, like in the broadcast booth and things like that, when he got to the locker room?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Great story about Charles is that he was a terrible practice player. So we would hate it if he practiced because he would screw up practice. He would come down and just jack threes. And so you never want him to practice. And when you play in the NBA, you're supposed to be there an hour and 2 hours before the game or whatever, and that usually at 40 minutes they call you in and they go over the game plan. The coach is going to come in, he's got everything written on the whiteboard. We're going to talk about your coverages and what you're going to do offensively, and here's our game plan. Well, there's about 39 minutes on the clock, game clock. Whiteboard's full. Paul Westphal's sitting up there. Everybody's in their seat but Charles, nobody's seen Charles. So here walks in Charles in his street clothes. You know, it's about 39 minutes. Walks in, stops, stares at the board, takes the eraser, erases it, writes win, sits on his chair, and Westphal kind of looks and says, all right, guys, let's just go win. Put on our clothes, and we did it 62 times that year. We probably could have done it 66 times because we took like the last 5 games off because we had the best record in the league and he hardly played any of the starters.
That is hilarious.
That's just how good he was.
Let's stop overcomplicating this, Coach.
Yeah,
you can
let's
get the
just
rock
win.
to me a lot.
Yeah,
kick
throw
it
me
to
the
Dan,
ball.
shoot some
Help
threes.
me guard my guy.
Yeah.
I'll get all the rebounds too, and we'll win.
Y'all play much golf together?
You know, I used to play a lot with Charles. When he came here, I actually got really into the game because of Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is a good player. Used to play a lot. So I used to play with him. And Charles back then was probably a legitimate 8 handicap. Mm-hmm. He was a good player.
Yeah.
Had a good swing, had a tremendous short game. We would go out, Danny and I, Charles, when Joe Klein came the next year, us 3 particularly would go out and play a lot of golf together.
That's awesome.
How about his little resurgence right now, getting rid of the hitch?
Getting a little better.
I hope it does, yeah, because I feel so bad for him because he loves to play. And like I said, he was a great player. I guess, from what I hear, when he went to Houston, when he got traded to Houston, he took some kind of lesson and he got that mental hitch, and then it turned into that what you see now and just ruined his game. But that was a guy who loved to play and wasn't a bad player.
Utley apparently has fixed him. McCord played with him a couple of days ago. He beat McCord in their game.
He what?
Giving him some pops. He beat Gary McCord in their game. But
I would never admit
But
that,
he beat him.
Gary.
He said he's hitting it like legit. No
That's
hitches,
good to hear, man, because
nothing.
he loves to play.
He does. He loves it. But we got to go back to the 93 finals a little bit. I can't imagine. What's it like getting ready to go to the NBA finals? You know, first you're going against Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls. What was that like leading up into that? Like you said, everything was buzzing in Phoenix.
Yeah, it was great. It was kind of hectic. We have this great year. The city's absolutely in love with us. I mean, we were the biggest ticket in town. I don't think I paid for one thing that year, probably because I went to Marley's all the time. But
that helps.
Yeah, that helps. But I remember going to a movie theater sometime and people stopping and giving us like standing ovations. I mean, it was just crazy how much people loved the Phoenix Suns. So they had this great idea that after the regular season was over, that they were going to get us out of town to get away from the fans and just kind of focus on the playoffs. So I think we went to Prescott. So we end up driving to Prescott, and we pull up to the hotel, and there's probably 200 people there standing outside the hotel. I mean, it backfired. Unbelievable.
Nice getaway.
Yeah, unbelievable. We couldn't rest. We couldn't do anything. People all around. So we end up, get back to Phoenix. We open up against the Los Angeles the Lakers, who I think we beat 8 times that year. So they were the 8th seed, we're the 1st seed. And back then it was just a 5-game series. We open it up. We get beat the first game at home against the Lakers. Okay, that happens. Second game, we lose. Now we're down 0-2 to the LA Lakers, the 8th seed. Now this is only a 5-game series. We got to go to LA and not only win, we got to win 2 games there. So we end up going. Now that's when Westphal, I don't know if you guys heard the story where he made this great quote that he said, we're going to go to LA, we're going to win the first one, we're going to win the second one, and then we're going to come back here and win the third one, and everybody's going to talk about what a great series it was. We go to LA, we win the third one, we win the fourth one. We're like, all right, we even this thing up. We're going to go home, game 5. Well, that night I went out, had something to eat, got food poisoning. So I spent the whole night in the hospital. Couldn't eat anymore, I'm having IVs in my arm right before the game. We get out there. I end up hitting a shot with like 4 seconds to go to send it into overtime. We beat the Lakers in overtime in game 5 of the 1992-93 playoff series. If we don't beat the Lakers, this story doesn't go on.
Yeah.
We catch fire from there. We beat San Antonio. Charles hits a big shot in San Antonio. We beat San Antonio in a great series. So then we face Chicago. Chicago, we have the home court advantage, so we're excited about that. We get to play at home. Same thing happens. We lose our first game to Chicago. We lose our second game to Chicago. Now we have to go to Chicago, and we have to win 3 games there, or at least 2 games. So it was 2-3-2 series. We end up winning the first game in a fantastic triple overtime game. Excuse me. We lose the second one, very close game. Third game is about to tip off. They're talking about boarding up the city to save Chicago. Barkley says, forget that. We're going to save Chicago. We're going to win the game. So we go out. We beat Chicago. So we end up beating Chicago 2 out of 3 games. Come home to Phoenix. End up losing in Game 7 or Game 6. John Paxson with the 3. End up losing in 6 games. But it was funny because nobody could win at home. We beat Chicago 2 out of 3 there. They beat us 3 games.
Yeah, that's strange. And I don't know if you saw Jordan's documentary in the last dance, but he talked about going into that series. Their GM, Jerry Krause, had talked about how much he loved you, and they knew that, and Jordan knew that, and Scotty knew that. In the same way they did with Kukoc in the Olympics, like you were the guy. Jordan always picked a guy. It's like that's going to motivate him.
Yeah, I was
you were the
happy
guy.
about that.
Did you know at the time that he had targeted you?
I didn't know that until
I'm going to make his life.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I watched The Last Dance. I really did.
Shit?
I was sitting there on the couch watching this, and I was thinking, okay, is he going to mention me? I hope he doesn't kill me. I think, maybe he shouldn't mention me. So when he said that, I was just as shocked as anybody that he would say that. But and people bring that up to me all the time, like I think it's a badge of honor. I mean, the greatest player in the world.
You got his attention.
Is trying to kill me, which he did, and it doesn't make me feel any way because he is the greatest player in the world. That guy was so great, not only offensively, but defensively. If he wanted to score on you, he's going to score on you. If he didn't want you to score, you weren't scoring. My whole philosophy of playing Jordan was to talk golf. That's all I did.
Smart.
I was like, hey, Mike, how's the game? What kind of ball are you playing? What's your driver? How
so
you doing?
You're guarding him right there. And you're saying
well,
something like
my thing is
Game 6.
I'm just trying to keep him mellow, so maybe he'll give me 35.
Yeah.
Because if I piss him off, he's going to give me 55, right? So I'm just talking golf. So I didn't know that was one of his motivations, and now it kind of makes sense.
Were you guarding him on the defensive side?
We kept on switching because I tried it. Kevin tried it. Johnson. They put Richard Dumas. We put everybody on him, and he would have great Danny Ainge. He would just, like I said, the guy was unbelievable, and he carried their team. He was that good.
Yeah, that is a badge of honor though. When you're the guy, because he had to pick somebody every time to get him motivated. Me against the world, and you were that guy for that series.
And there's no way. All I try to do is beat him up because the only thing that I was stronger than him. I wasn't faster, quicker, obviously not more talent, anything. So I just tried to hold, grab, beat him up, hold him, try not to let him get to his spots. That didn't work either.
And Scotty was in on it too. I mean, the same way with Kukoc. So you got to guard Jordan on one end, be defended by Scotty. Sometimes that's probably the hardest thing there is to do in the history of basketball.
To be honest with you, if Scotty was on me, I was like, thank God.
Oh, really? Was he a reprieve from Jordan?
Well, anybody's a reprieve from Jordan. I'm telling you, he was the best. Whatever he did, he was the best. If he wanted to guard you and not let you score or touch the ball, you weren't touching the ball.
Was that one like the night, or even right before the game or the night before? You're like, okay, I got MJ tonight. I'm in for a long one.
What's that night like before?
I loved it because I wanted to play against it. It was fun, man. I really did enjoy it. And that old Chicago stadium, it was, you literally dressed in the basement. And when you go up to the floor, it was like you went up these old crickety stairs and like these doors open. And it was like walking in like the old days, like you were a gladiator, like you walking up. And back then people were smoking. There was, smoke all in the building. Everybody was on top of you. There was no better feeling in the world of going up those stairs and in those little arenas like that and playing in that kind of stage. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you miss. It was awesome.
I got to go to a game there one time, and it's to this day one of the coolest sporting events. During that year when it was Michael and Scotty and all those dudes, it was wild. You gave him 34 in one game that series, though.
I played well.
So
I
suck on that, Scotty.
Yeah, I had a record. Mike. I think 7 threes, and that tells you how far we've gone. 7 threes in the finals was a record for a while.
Yeah,
I made 7 threes. That was a record. So yeah, it's been a while.
Obviously, you played against him, and now there's always the talk MJ LeBron. Give us Dan Majerle's thought. Is it even comparable?
Yes, it is now. When I was coaching, that was a big conversation with our recruits, because they've grown up LeBron fans. I'm a Michael Jordan fan, so you're never going to get me off that Michael Jordan's the best, and I still think he is. But if LeBron continues to do what he's doing at this age and at the clip that he's doing it, I don't think there's going to be a conversation. I think he's going to have to be the best because he's been able to do what's it now, 18 years or something?
Yeah, dude, he's our age basically.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and he just keeps going. And he keeps getting better. I mean, that's unheard of. Now, it's a lot different now because of the travel and the practice and how everybody does things. But he is amazing. But to my money, all-around player, a guy. And the other thing about LeBron is his size. I mean, the guy's 6'8", about 260. I mean, the guy's huge.
Yeah.
You know, Michael was my size, 6'6", 220 or whatever. But with LeBron doing it that size, it's amazing. But to me, Jordan will always be the best.
All right, riddle me this, though. You got 3 seconds left. You got the ball. You're down 1. You're going to inbound it to somebody. Would you rather inbound it to Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Yeah.
There's no question.
That's like
no question.
my thing on that.
No question.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think there's a wrong answer, but
No, they're both.
Jordan was just a killer.
And
like
guys
I've
would get
never
upset.
seen.
I'm not
Maybe
saying LeBron.
Kobe.
Yeah, LeBron's the second best. That's really awful.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, he's second. He's second to Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
That's incredible. Who do you enjoy? You mentioned Steph Curry earlier. In today's game, who do you really enjoy watching?
Joker. The Joker from Denver.
Oh, that's the Sleazy's
That's
guy.
my guy.
Love it.
The best passing big man.
Oh, I
ever.
love guys who have a high basketball IQ. And I just fixate on him and just the way he's thinking game. Like he sees plays 2 or 3 steps before anybody else. I mean, just the passes he makes and his vision. And sometimes he'll catch the ball and he'll just stand there and then he'll make a quick move for him, or he'll dribble and you'll like fake you and then drop a pass. Just his mental IQ. I just love watching him play. Defensively, he's slow, but he's always in the right position. And you don't do that if you're not thinking the game. And that's what I love watching, guys who think the game. And he's the best at it by far.
He's like Billy Hoyle. Like I feel like you're drafting. I know he's enormous, but if you're like, all right, pick a guy. Who do you want? Pick that guy right there. He doesn't look athletic, doesn't look anything, but when he gets out there, it's a joke.
He can shoot it. He posts up, great passer, all that stuff. And
he's
but
sick,
mentally, he's so far ahead of everybody else when you're watching him play. I just sit there and I'm like memorized by the plays he's making and how he sees the floor.
That's really cool.
Can we talk about the '94 World Championship team?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the coolest teams I think ever assembled. You got Dream Team 1, which gets and that was like the pros pro. They were the guys buttoned up. Then you got Dream Team 2, and it's probably the cockiest, swaggiest group of dudes to ever be on a team before. Can you tell us a little? Just name some of the guys that were on that team for people that don't know, and just what it was like playing on that team because it's the sickest squad.
Yeah, it was cool. It was Shaq, Derek Coleman, Larry Johnson,
Dude, it's all of
Reggie Miller.
Sean Kemp.
How can I forget Sean? Was Derek Richmond on that team?
Alonzo Mourning.
Mark
Price
Price
seemed to be the
Mark
odd
Price,
man out on that
Joe
team.
Dumars.
Joe Dumars. Who else do we got? Derek Coleman, Kevin Johnson.
Kevin
Just
Johnson.
Dudes.
Yeah, we were very, very talented. But when you say cocky is not, that's an understatement.
Yeah,
we had some guys. Guys jumping, dunking, grabbing their, all that. It was the anti-Dream Team one.
Yes.
So it was different, but it was a lot of fun. Coached by Don Nelson.
The best.
It was. I used to play a lot of golf with Coach Nelson, and it was funny. We'd be out, I don't know if I should say this, but we were on the golf course, and we used to gamble a lot at night, and then we'd go on the golf course and we'd be playing, and we'd have these big drinks of whatever we're drinking, and I'm driving, and he hits the ball right or something, so we're driving, and we're going over to the bumpy rough or whatever, and his drink's spilling, and he's sitting there yelling at me. He said, "Damn, Dan, I'd like to drink some of my drink." Why? I said, "Well, hit it in the damn fairway. I'm not the one hitting it over here in the rocks."
Come on, coach.
Yeah, hit it in the fairway. It wouldn't be so bumpy. So we had a good time, but awesome. he was so anal about us losing because there's so much pressure that we had Shaq jumping, and we were practicing jump balls. Dream Team 2 was practicing jump ball situations.
What was the
with
closest game
Shaq,
yeah.
who
With
at
Shaq.
the time was skinny Shaq, young Shaq,
Yeah,
22-year-old
nobody's
Shaq,
out jumping
biggest
Shaq.
freak of all time. Maybe
Anyway, nobody's beating us. We won by 30 or 40 every
what was the
game.
closest
37
game?
again.
But I can understand. That's a lot of pressure of a coach. Can you imagine losing Dream Team 2 if you just following Dream Team 1? But a great story about that is when we used to have our team meals and everything, and we had our team breakfast, and we came down to our team room, and there was a huge bowl of cereal. One of those huge bowls where they would take out the whole box of cereal and they pour the whole, like a Rice Krispies, the whole box into the cereal thing, and then they take one of those big scoops and put a gallon of milk there. And the premises was that all the guys would come down, take a bowl, take the scoop, and put it in, pour some milk in, and go sit down. Well, here comes Shaq. Shaq walks in, takes the whole damn bowl and the big scoop and the gallon of milk and goes and sits at his own table, pours the gallon of milk, and starts eating the cereal out of the scoop.
whole box.
It's a normal little
I was like,
spoon,
Shaq, that's our. This is my size.
That's skinny Shaq too.
Yeah, I mean, that's how huge that man was.
That is
monster.
incredible. What a great story.
This might be a dumb question. Who was with that team? Who was like the vocal leader of that team, or was there one? Because you had so many guys.
Yeah,
that
Reggie
talked a lot of
Miller.
shit.
Reggie Miller talked a lot, and guys like that. I mean, we had a lot of guys. Reggie and I had a big thing going with ping pong. I like to play ping pong. He was a good ping pong player, so we had a lot of ping pong tournaments, a lot of smack talking going there. But I would think probably the most vocal guy was, Tim Hardy was vocal. Kevin and I pretty much stayed in the back. Mark Price, Joe Dumars, but Sean Kemp,
Dominique
Coleman,
was on that team too,
Dominique,
right?
yeah.
What a team.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a
Holy
great team.
shit, it was a
so,
joke.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So that was a lot of fun too. I mean, we, spent training in Chicago, and then Toronto's such a great city. That's where we played. So it was awesome.
Did you guys get to go out while you're there? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Because you're gonna win every game by 40.
Yeah.
I mean, you did win every game by 40.
So
Did
you're
you guys get
in
that fun?
Chicago training all the time, then you go to Toronto. So two really really fun cities to go.
Yeah.
You got
So-
to
Get a little trouble around
enjoy it.
Yeah, we
a
got to
bit.
have a lot of fun.
Practices had to be harder than the games. Was there any blow
That's
up
the only
practices?
thing. We did,
Like
but
with Dream Team 1?
But I go back to, and I love Coach Nelson. I go back that he was just so, I think, uptight about not that. I would just like to say, okay, let's just go scrimmage. But we were working on crap. There's plays and defense and slides and all that stuff. Just let us go out there and scrimmage and have fun. But
That's awesome.
it all
What an
worked out.
experience.
Yeah, that was a different Dream Team.
Yeah.
And that
was
team
fun.
was fun.
All right, well, let's get to some more fun. All right, before we get to the Emergency 9 with Thunder Dan Majerle, a little word from our people at Austin Cocktail Sleeves. These things are delicious. When you're looking to get amongst it, no other way to go than Austin Cocktails.
Oh, these things are fantastic. Our guests have been drinking them on the show. I knocked down a couple of these sparkling mojitos just a couple days ago, and the thing is crisp. And by the way, packs a bit of a punch, more than 2 times their typical alcohol by volume content in these bad
ABV,
boys.
well said.
ABV, just a little acronym we like to throw out in the liquor game.
Yep, 12.5% alcohol. It's basically 2 cocktails in one. They are delicious. Perfect for the golf course. Just put them right there in your cup holder, slam them, no big deal. They're refreshing, lightly carbonated, low carb, low calorie. That's why I like them.
Great
Keeps
thing
me
to have
fit.
at home, dude. You just knock down 2 of these. Wife's like, why don't you drink it? I've only had 2.
Yeah.
Relax. Really, it's 4. So you can have like 3 or 4 before you start getting any flack for it. It's a nice way to sneak in double drinking.
Totally agree with you on that. That's a very well
that's
said
sure.
point.
It's like,
All right, well,
right
go
here.
check them out. Austin Cocktails. Go get amongst it. Here's Dan Majerle on the Emergency 9. Let's get to the Emergency 9. We do 9 fun questions. Get to know you a little bit more. A little more Thunder Dan. We're going to let Sleaze start it off.
All right, this
Number
is one
one.
we ask everybody. All right, movie being made about the life of Dan Majerle. Who do you want playing you? Yours might actually be believable.
Well, I've heard people say that Woody Harrelson looks a little bit.
Well, there you go.
That's who I have
There-
written down,
well,
too.
I
He's just
had
not
him.
tall enough.
Yeah, he's not
But
good
there's
looking
2
enough
guys. There's a
either.
guy, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn. I've
Yeah,
met
he's-
Vince Vaughn.
'cause
He's like
he's tall.
6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
he's a
big
big
guy.
boy.
I
Can you
love
hoop, though?
Will Ferrell. Love Will Ferrell.
The Tropics. What was his name in the Tropics?
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Jackie
yeah,
Moon.
Jackie Moon.
Yeah, there you go.
He's in the post. Nope.
Yeah.
Give it back. Nope.
Yep, give it back.
Yep, give it
Right?
back.
That's great.
So yeah, probably Vince Vaughn because he's a big dude, 6'5".
Yeah, most people pick the best looking. Leonardo DiCaprio gets picked all the time. All these dudes that aren't good. You're actually like a good looking, in shape dude. So yeah, I had Bradley Cooper for you. I don't know if he can hoop at all.
No,
Bradley
it's
Hooper.
not bad.
Bradley Hooper.
You're gonna need to work on it a little bit.
All right. I just threw this one in there because of what you said earlier. You told your kid that a great shooter you can develop into a great shooter. We have this argument all the time about golf, and I know you're a big golfer, so there's always the argument as whether great putters are either born or you can learn to be a great putter. You said you can learn to be a great shooter. You think you can learn to be a great putter?
God, I hope so because I'm not.
God, I hope so. Because we always talk about like Rory McIlroy and these guys that
Well, I
are
think-
so talented, but they're not that great at putters.
Depends on what you say. Great. I think you can obviously become a lot better putter because I've become a lot better putter. I think with your shooting, there's always guys who have different shots and different forms, and if you do it enough, you can become a really good shooter. But if you have great form and you work on it, you can become a great shooter. So I don't know. You guys know golf obviously a lot better. If somebody could teach you putting, as far as everything you have to do when you work on a lot, could that make you a great putter, or is it more
I think
feel?
you can get better.
I've always believed
we
great
can have
putters
this
are born.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
You'd
It's the
probably
same way
agree because it's a
Reggie
feel.
Miller,
And it's something you
right
can do.
elbow out, right?
Yep,
Not
yep.
great form. You wouldn't teach that, right? You had that dangling right arm. But if you had the ball with 2 seconds left, just like you said, Jordan earlier, you want Reggie having that.
But that's
ball.
what I'm saying.
And he
But
had something in his
Reggie's
head.
done it millions and millions because if it's repeatable, then you know what you're doing. And obviously Reggie does something that's very repeatable. like Larry Bird. Larry Bird has a different shot. He throws it way up here, and it's behind his head, but it's repeatable, and he does the same shot every time. I actually had really good form on my jump shot, and I used to work on it all the time, and I think that's what made me a better shooter is I had really good form, and it's something that I just trained and I worked. So when I was doing it, I didn't have to think about it. It came more of a feel than anything.
You played center in college?
I played.
How tall were you in college? Did you go to growth
I
spurt at
was
like
I was
22?
5'4" as a freshman in high school, and then I was 6'2" in sophomore. I looked like a Q-tip.
Well, we were tired as a freshman.
I was a white kid with an afro. I really looked like a Q-tip my sophomore year in high school, and then I grew to 6'5" as a high school kid. Grew an inch in college, and I was 6'6". I played center all through college until probably about my junior year, and I started stepping out a little bit. Senior year started out a little bit, and then when I first got to the Suns, I was offensive rebound, slasher, dunker. Hardly ever shot from the outside. So I just changed my game totally when Charles came.
You told me when you got to the NBA, too, you went from size 14 shoe to 16 shoe.
I did. It's unbelievable.
I mean,
well, it came actually after – it had to be after 94.
Yeah.
Because they made up Nike made up these special shoes for us, and I saved them. And I looked at them like a year ago, and it was a size 14. And I tried to put it on. Couldn't even put my foot into it. I wear 16 now.
So you hit puberty twice.
Yeah, I guess.
Jesus, it's just not fair.
No.
Bummer, Dan.
My feet and my ears keep growing.
That's awesome.
All right, clock winding down. Game on the line. You got to pass to any teammate of yours from any team all time for the game winner. Who do you feel most confident passing it to?
Ooh, man. My team?
Any guy you played with on any team. So it could be the Heat, could be the Cavs, could be the
But
Suns.
not the dream team, too.
Not the dream team?
Yeah, leave them out because I might
Okay.
know.
Oh, man. Game on the line. I got to throw it to somebody. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of who I have on my team.
Can't be you. You could throw it off somebody's back and then shoot it.
You know, this will probably surprise you, but with the game on the line, it'd probably be Charles.
Wow. We can't let him hear this.
All right, we'll edit this question
Yeah,
out. Say
we're
somebody
gonna-
else.
Yeah.
You know, I played, Danny Ainge was a great.
I was going to say Danny
Ainge was a great clutch shooter. If he would have made the three in Chicago in Game 3, we wouldn't win triple overtime. So he missed a wide open one.
So he's out.
Trying to think, but I just think of guys who were clutch and were kind of born for that. And Charles hit a lot of big shots when I played with him, and he wasn't a good shooter. But if you needed him to score, he was going to find a way to do it.
That's the thing with the putting. It's just something.
So I'd have to say Charles.
That he's got. All right, that wouldn't have been the answer I would have pegged you with, but I like that.
All right, next question. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were a huge Larry Bird fan growing up. I heard the first time you ever went up against him. It's a pretty cool story. Can you share that with us?
So Larry Bird, you said it. He was my guy. I loved him. My favorite player. Still is my favorite player. So my rookie year, going up against him, Madhouse at McDowell. I check in the game. I'm guarding Larry. So
Perfect.
Yeah. So I figured after about 10 minutes, I caught myself and I said, well, I better stop idolizing this guy. I should probably start guarding him because he's killing me. But in the process, there was a ball out of bounds on the side, and Larry's standing underneath the basket. And next to me is, I think it was Robert Parrish and Mark West, the two centers. Mark West is on our team. Robert Parrish was on the Boston. So Larry looks at Mark and he says, hey, Mark, he said, we're going to inbound the ball. I'm going to come off a screen from Robert, catch it at the top of the key. I'm going to turn. I'm going to look at the rookie. I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to shoot it and make it.
Good.
And he's saying this right in front of me.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry, I'm right here.
Hold on. Am I the rookie?
I'm like, you talking about me? So they inbound the ball. They inbounds the ball. Larry goes up, comes off of Robert Parrish, catches at the top of the key, turns, looks at me, laughs, shoots it, and makes it, and then just jogs down the floor.
That's so good.
Well, I have arrived.
So thank you.
That's got to be a
I
tail
made him-
between the legs moment.
That was awesome.
Oh, shit.
I think my first game, I lined up against the Lakers. I started that game, and I talk about knowing you made it. Jump ball, Kareem's jumping. You got Magic, James Worthy, Cooper, and Byron Scott.
Not in Central Michigan.
And you're
anymore.
like, yep, I'm not at Mount Pleasant.
This ain't the Chippewas.
How about looking at that lineup for your
Wow,
first game?
that's crazy.
That's gnarly. All right, next one. Do you think or have you ever considered changing your nickname from Thunder Dan to Lightning Dan, given the speed of your backswing?
I'm trying to slow it down. It's short. It is. The funny thing about that nickname is, in college, it was Dan Thunder Marley because I was an inside player, and we had a guy named Irvin Levy, and he was a great outside shooter. Actually made it to the final cuts for the Chicago Bulls. And we had a really good team my junior year when he was a senior in college. So they nicknamed him Lightning, and they called me Thunder. So it was Thunder and Lightning. And I hated that nickname. I absolutely hated it. So when I graduated from Central and I got drafted by the Phoenix Suns, I said, thank God this whole Dan Thunder, because it was Dan Thunder Majerle, it's over. Well, the first exhibition game, Phoenix went back to Mount Pleasant, and we played the Denver Nuggets for an exhibition game, because exhibition games, they usually take it back to small cities or small places or, draft picks places. So we went there, and they introduced me, and the PA announcer at Central Michigan said, and welcome back, Dan Thunder Majerle. Well, Al McCoy was there. So what do you think he did?
Yep.
He brought it back to Phoenix. Instead of calling me Dan Thunder Majerle, he just started calling me Thunder Dan. So I was like, dang it. So we get back here, and he starts calling me Thunder Dan, and now it's grown on me. I like it now, obviously, but I couldn't wait to get rid of that nickname when I got here.
I mean, your friends, everyone calls you Thunder. Like, you walk up, what's up, Thunder? Like, no, I don't know another athlete whose nickname is used as much as yours, man.
No, it's amazing. And I'll be listening to shows or listen to TV stuff, and somebody will, I'll be watching college basketball games, and somebody had mentioned my name. Oh, they were comparing me to Crispert from Gonzaga about who you said, an old school guy would be Dan Majerle, and the other announcer goes, oh yeah, Thunder Dan. Yeah. So you're right, that's what people remember.
It's stuck.
Yeah,
that is sweet on Gonzaga, by the way.
Yeah,
he's nice.
He's very nice. I don't know if they're going to get beat. They're great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Not
to
yet,
watch, for sure.
Not yet, at least.
All right. Well, you already mentioned MJ, great trash talker. Larry Bird, great trash talker. Was there anybody else? Who was the greatest trash talker you went up against in the NBA?
Gary Payton.
Oh, yeah, the glove.
Love him.
Never stop
talking. Like, when he
talking.
get personal?
Never stop talking. Never stop talking. Trying to think. There were so many back then. I mean, it was nonstop. Reggie Miller talked a lot of trash. It was funny. I played – you guys remember Dale Ellis?
Yeah, dude, Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Of course.
He's another big guy. He played center in Tennessee in college, and he came in the league and was one of the all-time best three-point shooters ever. So I hated Dale Ellis. Absolutely hated Dale Ellis. And him and I got in a fight one game when he was with Dallas, and I just couldn't stand him. So when I got traded to Miami, I think it was my second year, he actually got traded to Miami, and he turned into one of my best friends on the whole team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the same thing with Ainge. People hate Ainge. If you're playing against Danny Ainge, one of the dirtiest players ever to play the game. I mean, you should see – there's a picture of when we were playing the Boston Celtics with Kevin McHale doing a turnaround jumper just off the block, and Danny Ainge was guarding him. And the picture, he has his whole hands around his nuts. Like cupped.
The good old days.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just – and he would just – and you hated playing against him. But he was one of my favorite teammates ever. He would do anything for you, play as hard as he could. So Ainge was one of those guys that you would just hate playing against, but love playing for. And Dale Ellis was the same way. I used to talk crap to him, and he would do the same thing to me. But when we played with each other, he was a great guy.
Yeah. I feel like Reggie Miller would be kind of the same way. I mean, he's over there talking shit to Spike Lee in the stands.
He never stopped. And he could talk because the two Davis brothers, remember those guys?
Yeah.
6'9", 6'10", about 260, 270. Imagine guarding Reggie Miller, and that guy never stopped moving, ever. And all he did was run from a pick from one Davis brother to the other Davis brother. And I was the guy that had to guard him. So I'm running into him, and then once I got around him, I had to run into the other guy, and then it was unbelievable.
Get that ice bath ready after the game.
Oh, Patrick Ewing separated my shoulder one time. I was running through a pick on the top of the key, and he hit me so hard, my whole left shoulder just went down like that. I mean, back in the day, guarding like guys like Reggie Miller and John Starks and guys who were running through picks, I mean, they were headhunting. It was a tough deal.
Yeah, Reggie would run through 5 picks.
Oh, he never stopped moving.
The guy like you having to guard him every possession and then go down and score on the other end.
And guys think it's so easy for like Kobe and Michael and all these guys and Curry to score 40 points. Oh, if you take enough shots. It's hard to score that many points in the league because there's a lot of moving and energy and never stopping. It's hard to score that many points. It's absolute work.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Those dudes are getting picks constantly.
Yeah.
All right, next question. You had a weird superstition where you wore only your right sock inside out. How did that originate?
My sophomore year in college, I went into the training room and I literally had a size of a blister on my right foot. On the bottom of my right foot was probably 3/4 of my foot. It was that big. I mean, it was huge. And the trainer, she said, well, all I can tell you to do is wear your sock inside out because it cuts down on friction. I said,
that's true?
That's it? I don't know. I was a sophomore in college. I don't know what the hell's going on. I just know I had a big blister on my foot. So I turned my sock inside out, and I think I scored like 40 or something that game.
Had to be the sock.
So I have not, to this day, and this honest to God, since my sock.
You know, I noticed
Look at it. It's a reverse Jordan.
You're
It's
never
real.
going to. So, we're playing golf at Greyhawk the other day, and me and Kevin Chappell both looked at each other and he's like, his one sock's
This
inside
guy can't
out.
even dress himself.
To this
He's
day,
losing it. He's
so-
I had
senile.
no reason. That's incredible.
to
I
my
can't wait.
sophomore year in college, never, not one day, I have not had my right sock inside out. It's like a reflex now.
That is so funny. We talked about it the other day, and I was like, oh, he just messed
He's
up.
still doing it. That ruined my next question, which was going to be: do you do that for like a big member guest or something?
I
now?
have
But
never
clearly
not
you do
had
it
my
every
sock,
day.
my right sock inside out since my sophomore year in
shit.
college.
That
I'm
is
gonna start trying
incredible.
it.
All right, last one for me. Got a big member guest coming up. Your good buddy, Vinny Del Negro. He told me this story, and I didn't really believe it, but now I'm starting to believe it just because what you told us about Michael Jordan. But did you really, during a key moment in the game, start asking him about his golf game while someone was at the free throw line to distract him?
I did, and he to this day he still thinks it was intentional, but it was unintentional. So we're playing at home against the San Antonio Spurs. Vinny's playing. We're staying at half court. One of their guys is shooting a free throw, and I started just talking because I knew Vinny played, and I didn't know Vinny that well at the time. We were friends, but we weren't like we are now. So I just started talking. I was like, "Hey, Vinny, how's your game? You know, you playing much? You know, how you whatever." And as I'm talking, the guy shoots it and he misses it. And I'm like, and I just break. And I think Charles had grabbed it or something and threw a full court pass. And I just laid it up. And I felt so bad because it was not intentional. So the next time I could talk to Vinny during that game, I said, Vinny, I did not. He's like, shut the hell up. You made me look bad. Popovich is mad at me. I'm getting cussed out. I'm never going to talk to you again. I said, Vinny, what? To this day, he hasn't forgiven me.
That is awesome.
It
I
was
love
totally
it.
unintentional.
But you talked to MJ about golf. Now you're talking
Yeah.
to Vinny Del Negro about golf. I think that was your thing.
It was my thing, but I wasn't scared of Vinny. Let's get this straight.
I didn't need to trash.
I wasn't trying to stop Vinny from giving me 35. Now, Vinny was a great player, but he wasn't Jordan. So I was being I was being sincere in that moment.
I was trying to stop Vinny from giving me 8.
That's awesome.
Oh shit! All right. Last question. Here we go. Your life is on the line here, Dan. All right, you follow me? Your life is on the line. Which would you rather have determine the outcome of your life? Shaq shooting a free throw or Charles Barkley in the fairway with a driver? Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Do the numbers.
I
Do
think
the
you're
math.
dead, Dan.
There's a good chance you're not with us anymore. On a normal
So
size
let me get
fairway,
this. So Charles is what now? He's in the
Charles has to hit the fairway with a driver, and you live. He misses it, you die.
Doesn't
Or
matter how
Shaq
far
at
he
the
hits
free
it?
throw line. No, I mean he's got to hit. I don't know. You can have him hit it however far you want.
I got to go with my guy Charles.
You
man.
got Chuck.
I
Chuck,
got
you
to.
just said he's the most clutch guy.
He
You
is.
give him
He's got
rock.
the most clutch. Yeah, Shaq. No, it's got to be Charles. Yeah, that's not
That's
even
a
a question.
tough,
now I think
tough
about
thing
it.
to have your life lay in the balance.
Oh, I wouldn't want either one of them. Let's make sure that's. But yeah, I'd have to go with my boy Charles.
That is awesome.
All right, respect. There you go,
Yeah,
Chuck.
got to.
He's back now. No hitch.
That's
No
great.
hitch.
Well, Thunder, this has been a blast, my man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me anytime. Thanks.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep,
We'll see you on
thank
the
you.
course.
Thank you so
Yep,
much.
Thanks.
All right, well, that was Thunder Dan Majerle on Golf Subpar Sleaze. I mean, it's so cool talking to this guy, a guy who got to play against Michael Jordan in his prime, talked about battling against him.
Yeah, I love the fact that he didn't know that Jordan had singled him out as the guy to go up, like the guy that he had the chip on his shoulder for, until he watched The Last Dance. He's like, I wonder if he'll mention me. I wonder what he's going to say. And then all of a
you're a
sudden,
big
it's like,
part of it.
I was going to rip Dan Marley's face in half during that. I mean, that's the shittiest deal in the world. You got the best player in the world, and he has to have somebody to create that me against the world vibe. And it's like, oh, it's you, Dan.
Yeah.
Because our owner, our GM loves you.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved sitting down with Dan and him talking about how he chose Charles Barkley to save his life over Shaquille O'Neal shooting a free throw. Crazy shit.
I don't like my odds either way. Might want to add me into can Drew hit the blue line, the net from the blue line. That'd be about the same odds on that.
Yeah, but
Life's in trouble at that point.
I know you got really, really excited talking about Dream Team 2 with him. I've never seen it's almost like the Rat was sitting here.
Oh, it's close to the Rat's in a league of his own. But talking about Dream Team 2, I just love that team because Dream Team 1 is the team, right? That's arguably the best team ever assembled. But they were like the consummate professional. You know, Larry and Mike. They all handled themselves the right way and all this stuff. And then here comes Dream Team 2, World Championship, and they were like the opposite of that. They were dunking on people. I mean, they won every game by 38 or something, grabbing their nuts as they ran down the court. They were like the opposite of that, and they just got up and down the floor. Kind of like more like how the modern day NBA looks like. That was the way they were playing. They were dunking and shooting threes, and that team was fun to watch.
Well, it was a lot of fun sitting down with Thunder Dan Majerle. Thank him for coming on. But Sleaze, we got to get to the gambling portion of the show. And last week, for those out there that don't know, you did take Daniel Berger in our one and done, but he had to withdraw before he teed off, so no problem. We let our producer, Mark, know that you took Adam Scott. So don't everybody freak out. Sleaze actually did make some money this week. He had Adam Scott, instead of Daniel Berger. So you get to save Boog for another day.
I got Boog coming to a date to be determined.
All right, and I had my man Sung JM who brought me home a little top 10 finish. So, producer Mark, how the standings looking?
Yeah, so the transition to Adam Scott worked out for Sleaze there. Got a cool $125,000. You, however, with that T8 got 190, stretching your lead to 83,000.
Ooh, snug
Still
as
super,
a
super
bug
close,
in a
yeah.
rug. This thing
It
is tight.
It is. I can't believe none of us picked Mac Jones.
I know.
Unbelievable.
I was right on the brink with him, too.
All right. Well, this week we got another WGC, the Dell Technologies Match Play down at Austin Country Club, one of my favorite golf courses in the state of Texas. This one's fun, and also one of the hardest tournaments to bet of the year. I mean, anything can happen.
Without in a survivor pool, it's like, okay, you want a guy that's going to try to win the thing, but there's no sure things going through and looking at these brackets. There's nothing that's guaranteed. So if you pick one of the big guys, Dustin Johnson, let's just say, you pick him, love him this week, and he doesn't make it out of first round, you might as well have picked Dylan Fratelli. No disrespect to anybody, you know what I mean? But like, you can easily get snubbed with a very, very small week here because it is such a crapshoot in match play. So I basically said, all right, who do I want for the majors? Save those guys and then go to my next tier down.
That's fair.
From that. And I also looked for the easiest first, like pod to get out of, and there really aren't any.
And how they do this is there's 16 groups of 4. They play round robin play. Whoever earns the most points, boom, you go on to the Sweet 16, and then it's just match play from there, single elimination. So, like I said, this is tough. I mean, the groups are brutal. Just to make it out of the groups is an accomplishment. And with me, being the low man last week with Sun JM, I have the honor, and this is tough for me. I hate this. There's so many guys I want to take, but like you said, you could go out and play great, shoot 4 under in all 3 matches, go home.
Lose. You run DJ, Rom, run into a buzzsaw, see ya.
All right, well, I broke it down. I got my final 4 right here, and I went with a lot of chalk. I got DJ coming out of one side, Bryson DeChambeau coming out of one, Justin Thomas, and then I got one little fella that's not like the others.
3 ones.
Looking for his first win. Scotty Scheffler, University of Texas product, played Austin Country Club a lot of times. I'm actually taking him to face Dustin Johnson in the finals, and I'm going with the upset, Sleaze. Scotty Scheffler
to win the whole deal.
PGA Tour win at the WGC Dell Technologies Match Play, and he's going off at 40-1, so he can make some cash if it happens.
Well, his first win is coming. I hope it's not this week. No offense, Scotty, but his first win is coming. And yeah, being a Texas kid, UT playing this golf course a lot of time, that definitely doesn't hurt. Like I said, I tried to find the top guy that I'm not going to pick for a major, and whoever has the easiest route to get out of his first round after that, I think it's even more of a crapshoot. But it's hard to find. But I'm going with Patrick Cantlay. He's at 20-1 odds on the week. I mean, he's top 20 in 6 of his last 7. He missed the cut at the Players. Who cares? Throw that away. It doesn't matter to me. I always expect Cantlay to be in good form. But he's the 10 seed, and he's in a pod with Hideki Matsuyama, another great ball striker, Carlos Ortiz, and Brian Harmon, who's going to be a tough out too. So like I said,
look out.
I love Cantlay to come out of that group, but would it shock me if Brian Harmon comes and wins that thing? No. Would it shock me if Matsuyama gets out and wins? No. It's a hard thing to get out. So Patrick Cantlay is like my next tier of guys I'm not going to pick to win a major. Who's next up? And it was Cantlay.
This is a week, if you're wanting to gamble, maybe just stick to March Madness and stay away from the golf, because this is brutal.
Yeah, if you think there's a lot of upsets going on right now in basketball, wait till you see the bracket come, once this first round ends. There's going to be some weird numbers up on the board.
All right, I got Scotty Scheffler. You've got Patrick Cantlay. Best of luck to all of y'all out there. And Sleaze, everyone, get ready. Next week, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring you a lot of coverage.
World.
This could possibly be the next Miracle on Ice.
If I go 3 for 3 somehow, it's a bigger upset than that. In sports history.
By a gazillion. This would be the biggest upset in sports history if you went 3 for 3.
I'm going to the store. I'm getting some eye black. I'm going to have all the best stuff. He's bringing all the good equipment. He texted me the other night. He's like, what size skate do you wear? And all this stuff. I said, if Ovechkin wouldn't wear the shit, don't bring it. I need the top end stuff, so I'm gonna be suited and booted, and I'm giving him hell, dude.
I cannot.
There's no
wait.
lay down in me,
Wednesday,
dude.
March 24th. It is gonna be awesome, and we will bring it to you all on next week's Golf Subpar. Everyone have a great week.